I've historically had a problem with the 4X genre of video games.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort for. It's a bit too slow for me.
You've never really been into the whole like one more turn style idea of like, high level management.
XCom was about as close as I got.
Yeah, XCom is kind of like your level of one more turn, where it's more about personal character management as opposed to like high level.
Yes.
Like systematic management. So what if I told you there's a 4X game that was in space and had XCOM style combat?
I mean, you've said all the right words already, so my ears are perked.
Sure.
What have you got to show me here?
Well, this is Age of Wonder Planetfall, and exactly that. It is a space sci-fi 4X game with XCOM style combat.
Nice. Okay.
So before I jump into actually showing you the game, part of the 4X genre is the kind of the diversity in the races and like character sort of backgrounds. So I kind of want to show off what this game has to offer in terms of like the factions. So start off with like you have your generic human beings who are called the Vanguard. The basic story of the game is that there's been 500 years of this event called the Void that has caused interplanetary travel to not be able to work. So a bunch of disparate far-flung colonies have all been isolated for 500 years and have developed in completely different ways, leading to these sort of like different factions. So you have your generic humans who basically want to go back to the good old days and when everybody just sort of like got along, and there was, I think they're called the Star Foundation or something, like some big galactic, everybody worked together for the greater good and all that stuff, but that's all been destroyed by the 500 years of not being able to travel.
But still all humans, right?
Yeah, like they're all humans. All
That's
human
not the word. What's the word I'm looking for? Multiple race alliance. Alliance, I think is the word I'm looking for.
So one of the other people are these people, which are the Syndicate, which are an old school race of, they were like the old star traveling Grand Empire that owned a lot of land and were very rich and dealt a lot in trade. These people are a lot of psychic powers and like
is that why
governmental
background?
Yeah, pretty much. And like political manipulations and machinations and all that stuff. Not so much strong units, but more in the background manipulating your mind sort of thing. There's the Assembly, which are basically the big scary Borg in this universe, where there are a bunch of humans who went crazy and decided to keep strapping robot parts to themselves. And then eventually they have a grand sort of like almost hive mind style AI, and the only thing they want to do is find more things to turn into robots. There are the Amazons, which are a race of kind of like human female only biotech specialists that got isolated to the point where all they did was sit and do genetic manipulations, and they became like your typical elves of like, they like the forest and they like animals, but the animals that they have are like giant human-sized penguins and robots with giant laser guns on the back of them, like that sort of thing.
I vaguely remember you telling me about this game and you said the phrase giant human-sized penguins, and I was immediately interested.
Human-sized penguins are these guys. These are the biotech people. And then there's the Kirko, who are the natives. Your standard animate bug style thing, their special ability is that when they are a hive, when they all stand together, they get bonuses in combat, like different bonuses depending on who they are, but so long as they're all together, that's their thing.
So as someone who's played their first couple of games of Twilight Imperium, it turns out there are only like 17 different races you can have in sci-fi, and you've covered a good chunk of them at this point.
Animate bugs are pretty universal in sci-fi, and the last race, which are one of the coolest races, are the Devar, which are your space dwarves. They down
to their fucking berets and everything.
They have military berets. They dig a lot underground, and they like explosives a lot. Their entire thing is that their units either have grenade launchers or are riding giant vehicles that have big drills on the front of them. That's their big thing.
So there's all these races. Are these different characters from those races that have different traits? Yeah,
so when you start, you will pick like a race and a commander, which is kind of like a hero unit in the field. And if I go to customize on this Devar unit, you can see, so they each have your race, which is like your Devar or your Assembly, whatever you want. you have your technology, which is like the kind of like the basis for your military. So you have like void tech, who are people that have manipulated the void, and so their special abilities are like they can teleport and they can go invisible, and it's like space magic effectively. But then you can combine that with like Umbra, which are the actual psychic people. So you can diversify your race that way to get different military units and specializations. And then your hero unit themselves have like a background and different things that you have. So you have a total of like, I can't remember how many points it is. How many points is it? Like 2 points, 3 points, whatever it is, to spend on all of this stuff that will give you different benefits in the field. So like if you say this Devar is a veteran, it means it says on there he starts at level 3 and gets a 15% XP boost. Right, okay. But that's just for that unit.
So the commanders are actual units that you take.
Yeah, they are hero units in the battlefield that can take up a thing. You can also like say that their colony themselves are like a military detachment, which means their first army is bigger, the one that they land on the planet with. Right. You can change what loadout they have, so if you want them to be like...
So am I seeing that some of those are negative points, so you get points back if you take... I'm assuming they're
so if you take a negative, so this is the interesting thing of like, so you can build your character, and then when you scroll all the way down, you hit their vice, which is like...
Oh, there we go. Yep.
If you want them to have a negative trait, you can take the negative on your points. So if I wanted to say... I don't have any points, but say I wanted to get like this like sharpshooter equipment or whatever, I could take this kleptomaniac thing, which says that your society as a whole loses 10 energy every turn because the leader of your thing is a klepto and steals all the money.
Oh wow, okay, sure.
But then I can also then pick your sharpshooter equipment because you have the points for it. It's that sort of thing.
And the ones marked green, I'm assuming right, they're like recommended for this race. Is that what that is?
I think it's it's a basis of like your race and the technology you pick. So if I change the technology, it might change from like. So if it's Promethean, it'll be a Promethean thing because they want you to go. Prometheans really like fire. They're the things that I've noticed. Prometheans are like crazy people that just think everything should burn. So they like flamethrowers and big fire tanks. So I'm going to show you the game that I have going, which is this, I think. Yeah. Might take a while to load.
Sure.
Oh no, we're good. Okay.
Okay. Hey, this looks like Civ.
So yeah, go with me here. This is a 4X game.
Okay.
You have cities that have an influence radius, which you can see in the big glowing blue line. Whenever they gain enough influence, which is measured by, is it this one? Yeah, this one. They gain the ability to take over an area next to them. So like, see these areas here, like the Donkey Dunes and the Stragglers Range here. Yeah, I know, it's a weird name.
Are they? Did you name them, or did they?
No, these are entirely generated. You can then take over that area and exploit the resources from it, which is your standard 4X thing. You can.
So what is this world like? Is this like, how is this related to like the grander story of like everything?
Yeah. So basically, what's happening?
Travel, then you couldn't.
The void is lifted, and because these disparate nations have all been isolated for so long, they all have the same idea, which is we need to expand, and so they hit these planets all at once. Of like 3 or 4 of them come on all at once and basically have to fight for supremacy. It's your basic kind of idea. So I'm trying to think. So yeah, in your cities you have your unit production where you can build all your units. You have your city-wide production, which is your barracks and your walls and all your city-wide buildings. You have your sector production, so when you take over a sector, you can choose to exploit it in different ways. So you can say, I want to exploit this one for food, or for production, or for science. And then they have their own tree of buildings that you can build within them, depending on what sector you want to build it in.
Sure.
You have, so this is your colony management tab. So when you have your civilians, your population, your pop, as they're called in most things. You tell them to do different things, so you spend pop to make food, or on production, or on science, same sort of thing. And then your colony center, which is the kind of overall view of what this city is linked to.
Right.
So you can have like, these are the features of the zone that it currently inhabits. When it expands, it'll have different zones that it can exploit.
So can you push those zones out? Like, can you take over? Like,
so those... when you get to a high enough influence, which I think shows in one of these tabs that I can't remember. Oh yeah,
right.
growth in 1. So when you get another pot, or is it this? Can't remember if it is this. But anyway, there are certain triggers that will expand your radius, and you can basically take over one of the ranges linked to this. So when this grows, I either have the option to expand out into like here, or down into this range, or over into these flats, or up here into this rift. Like, any of those can be exploited from this zone.
Sure.
So what I can do is, so I have an army here and an army here. I can show you what I mean by XCOM style combat.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how you do it. So far, so Civ, right?
Yeah.
Like this is nothing particularly new here.
This is kind of like the army that I have right now. So I have my hero unit, which is the hero that I built.
Yep.
So he is a kind of like a psychic rangery type person.
Sure.
He has commander infantry. So again, all your units, your specialists will have these skill points that they can spend on different things. They'll make them better or worse than different things. That's kind of expected from a hero unit. Yep. We have overseers, which are basically shit tier units, but they have shock staffs that will make your other units better or do different things.
Oh, sure.
Because they're an ancient race, they really like slavery a lot, which is kind of bad.
God,
but,
right? Yeah, sure.
These are assassins. They have sniper rifles. That's kind of basic. Your units can be modded, so as you go through your research tree, which I can show you. So you have your military research. This is your research tree, as you'd expect. You unlock different mods that you can put on your units to give different benefits. The counter to that is your society research tree, which is purely for your civ as a whole. Lets you like exploit different tiles and do different things. So here, I've given them a mod that increases their arc damage and gives them, what is it? Oh, yes, a stacking damage buff the more things they kill, which I was like, that seems good for a sniper, so they can just constantly...
Yeah, that would make sense. Yep.
And then you have 3 units worth of the indentured, which, if you know the meaning of that word, is...
right, yeah, okay.
Kind of annoying.
Cattle prodded. Yep.
Yes, these are the guys that will get cattle prodded. They are really bad at firing and really weak, but there's a lot of them, and they can be motivated to do things by giant shock staffs.
Yep.
So let's go fight these bugs, and I'll show you what I mean.
So do you get to customize like loadouts for the things that are not the hero units, or are they like?
So no, their weapons are set. The only thing you get to do is the mods.
The mods.
For your hero unit, you can set whatever you want. So I could give this guy different weapons if I wanted to.
Sure.
So let's go into manual combat, and I'll show you this. So again, all of the combat zones are procedurally generated, depending on what environment you're in.
Oh,
so we're in a desert, so you have a desert. The rule goes that defenders always go first, so they get to set up. Okay.
No fog of war or anything?
Nope, no fog of war or anything, because you know what you're fighting ahead of time, so fog of war isn't...
Right, sure. Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
Okay, so... If you know XCOM, you'll know what I'm about to say. Each unit has 3 action points that can be spent to do 3 things in combat. So you have... When you're moving them, you can see these hexes. So the light green is like 1 action, 2 actions, 3 actions. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
No actions, 1 actions, 2 actions, 3 actions, up to the red. There is, if I highlight this, you can see the cover on that tree.
Oh, wow, straight up cover.
Yep.
Okay,
So I can move this guy into heavy cover, and he will take less damage from this side. There is also flanking. So if he gets attacked from the other side, he will take extra damage because he's then out of cover. But he's getting flanked from the opposite side he's facing. So I've noticed the thing that you worry about a lot in this game is unit facing, like directions. Because there's a free thing that you can do where you can just rotate your unit to face in different ways. Like that, so I can turn him around. But you want this guy kind of like facing into cover so that he takes full advantage of the cover. We then have...
Because that's not really an XCOM thing. Like XCOM, like everyone could see...
Yeah, you can see everything.
Yeah.
So the thing that the... Can this guy do it as well? Yeah. So you can, there is Overwatch in this game, much like in XCOM. But Overwatch isn't like a state of readiness. You actually like select a firing field. Of like,
oh, wow. Right, okay.
This guy is going to cover this zone, and if anything comes in here, he'll shoot at it.
Gotcha.
So the snipers... and if you can hear the music in the background, the combat
I was literally about to say,
this weird sort of like 80s synthwave sort of thing that's really good with like industrial drums. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So the snipers, they take a full action to even fire their gun because it's a sniper rifle. Yeah.
Yep.
They can obviously do a snapshot for less accuracy and less damage, but So what you can do is instead just set them to Overwatch over here. Let's move our slaves up to the top.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad look, but this is kind of what they're doing for.
It's what the game is, yeah.
When you go kind of into this sort of realm of sci-fi, this is the kind of.
It's also like
shit,
it's not like they're saying like this is yeah. They're not promoting the idea.
No, they're just saying
like, these guys are bad. Yeah.
Like they explicitly say that everybody else thinks this is like stupid and really bad, that you shouldn't be doing this to people.
Sure.
So our overseers, who are the guys with the shocky sticks, have this thing called cerebral override, which basically it's that's them doing the big stick. So they hit them with the stick, and they take damage, but they get a whole extra turn, which is really good, but kind of bad as well. And
so I really like if you hover over that again, like the amount of colors and symbols on that bit of text is great.
So it is like suffers 5 psychic damage, gains their action point, which is the two arrows thing, and stagger immunity. And staggering is just a state that is like attacks will stagger, which basically takes away one of their action points next turn. And then their life, which is the little heartbeat monitor, can't be reduced below 1. So they can't die, but they are extremely exposed. This guy, our hero unit, has a special. It's kind of like a gun, but it mainly is there to like channel his psychic energy. So he has like the soul spear, which is his like constant psychic thing, and then the ability to just sort of like try and close range psionic blast people, which is pretty cool. So he's gonna move into cover over here. He's going to take cover. Our guy is going to go here. Luckily, though, our shocky stick guys also have the ability to like heal units, so they can kick the shit out of them, but then give them their health back. So it's it gives and it takes away. So that's the end of the turn. So you can see all these bugs are going to move in. Oh, okay. So I didn't actually realize these are. That's fine. These are like electric bugs that live on the planet, and electricity has a unique. Every damage type kind of has like a unique trait to it. Where electricity, because it's electricity, if it hits one thing, it has the ability to arc to the people behind it. Yeah, and these guys are fire, which has the ability to put burning on people, so they take damage over time.
Yeah, sure.
So if you look at it, so this guy has sight on all 3 of these people. Again, you have percentages to hit.
Okay, yep.
So these guys are in cover.
Is it actually like individual? Oh yeah, that's like 30%.
Yeah, okay. 30% as opposed to 75 because they're out of cover.
Because what was it was the thing I realised about what is the game with talking animals that has XCOM combat? Mutant
Zero Dawn or whatever.
Mutant Year Zero, I think it is. That just has like it is either 25, 50, 75, or 100 or 0.
Oh, it's just not variant. Okay.
No, it's just those 4. But this has got like proper like 32% to hit or whatever. Yeah.
So this is what this faction are pretty good at. Whereas this guy's have an 8. So if you shoot, it basically says if you're going to shoot, if you're choosing to shoot, that is basically like the end of your turn. Like if I shoot now, I am saying I'm spending all my action points on shooting. Which
How
is
are
what,
you seeing that? Sorry.
So see under the health bar, there's like a 3x6. So that is action points spent per shot. So it is. If I can move, I can still move and stuff, but then I will shoot less. Is the point.
So it's not doing the thing where shooting has to be your last action. Like you can shoot and then move.
No. Shooting is your last action. Like shooting. Shooting is you sending. I am spending all my action points that I have on shooting. So if you want to shoot, you have to move first. It is the.
Oh, okay.
So
you don't like. So if you're going to shoot 3 times, you don't have to click 3 times. Like it will just say spend the rest of my actions on shooting.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying now these guys have 3 action points. I am shooting. They will spend the 3 action points on shooting.
Gotcha.
So what these guys can do, even though the intentions are kind of shit because they only do 6 damage, is you can see these guys to shoot 3 times. So there's your 3 shots.
Sure.
Then get your overlords to come in, give them the little shocky stick. They get their whole turn back and they can shoot 3 times again.
Oh wow.
So instead of doing 6 damage for 3 times, they're doing 6 damage 6 times. So it's actually 18 damage, which is pretty good.
Wow.
Our snipers don't have a good chance to hit.
That seems like entirely what snipers should be doing.
Well, the guy's behind like 2 sets of cover and it's pretty far away, so it's kind of a hard shot to make. So what I want to do instead is I'll move these guys.
Do you have to worry about ammo?
No, don't have to worry about ammo.
No. Okay.
I will set these guys here and then I'll load up the special breach round ammo that I have for next turn. Which is like a
massive defense bypass.
Yeah, so if you highlight it, it basically says they can like penetrate 5 armor and 5 shield, which are different sorts of armor. There's physical armor and then there's like projected shields.
Sure.
Again, this game can get kind of complicated at times. This guy's gonna do his special psychic stuff.
Enemy eliminated.
Also, yeah, you'll notice that because they're the ancient old race that are all about manipulations, they have very high hoity-toity English accents, because of course they do.
Of course, yes,
yeah.
because the sci-fi, yep.
We have 30% chance to hit on them.
So once you're actually while you're playing this turn out, how much do they go in? Like, do they go into the lore during the game, or is it literally just like
so there is
characters who the races go?
There is a campaign that has all the lore in it.
Right.
You start off playing the Vanguard as the first people, because the first mission is you doing the. You do something and then you go into a spaceship and then you go into hypersleep for 500 years after the void has dissipated.
Sure.
So you wake up and you're like, holy shit, everything's different. So it's, and then after that mission, you then have the option to branch out and go like, after the first mission, you can choose to either continue the Vanguard story or go listen to the Devar or the Kirko and like go down different routes that way. So it does actually do a pretty decent job of telling you what it wants to tell you in terms of the story. All of it is, it's like not voice acted or anything, like everything is told entirely through text bubbles.
Sure.
You're not. You shouldn't really be expecting like high grade storytelling from a 4X game.
No,
but this game does like a pretty decent job of it, to be honest. So yeah, I should have showed this. Whenever you highlight a unit to attack, you can hold control and it will give you all of the information for it. So they're flanked, so it's higher chance, but they will take less damage because they have arc resistance because they're arc units. So it's. And we're getting long range, so it's 30% less chance, but whatever, it's fine, they're flying. Oh no! Didn't work, shit. Let's see.
Through grenades.
Ah, we're fine. These guys don't deal in grenades a lot, they don't like high explosives.
Our forces are victorious.
That is for sure a progenitor race voice right there.
Yep, that is the voice of ancient English people. It is not... So yeah, this is the other thing that... that 4X games have started like expanding into is they have these like NPC factions, which are kind of like city-states and Civ and stuff like that are computer-controlled nations that you can like communicate with and do missions for to help your relations to them.
And they're not necessarily like the other races you can pick.
No, they are unique things. So these people are the, what are they called again? The Spacers? Yeah, these are the Spacers, which are basically like Mad Max people. Yep. They like fast cars and paint oil on themselves. But I did a thing down here that was like an old like genetic zoo, I guess, that was like you can it went and talked about how you found this thing and then you found an animal that kind of adhered itself to you, and I ended up with a squad of the giant human-sized penguins.
Oh, look at those fuckers! Wow.
So
I like this.
They have a special ability that is like they
adorableness. Is that their thing?
Well, they're really cute, but they're genetically engineered, so they have like an 80-foot leap. They like jump at people and then just peck the shit out of them. That's their entire thing.
That is the most terrifying concept. A human-sized penguin with an 80-foot leap.
They're huge. They're massive, and they have a big leap. And I can give them a targeting system to make them more accurate.
With their leaps?
Well, with their beaks, I assume, because they can just...
Oh, right.
It's weird, I don't know.
Fantastic. That's great, yep.
But yeah, so the other thing that this thing has is in the society research, you have these edicts or doctrines, which are basically like, if I go here...
Operations available for priming.
Like, world-level things that you can do. So you have different things in your arsenal. So you have the tactical ones, which are things that can be deployed in combat. So like in combat you can charge up a big arc blast, which is what this charge is essentially.
Sure.
You have doctrines, which are more like Civ level. So you could say like these indenture contracts where it's like the indentures unit costs less and their mods also cost less. So this is actually the thing that you could do to make this slightly better, is that in this doctrine you're saying the indentured are like seeking rights. So you sign contracts with the indentured, so as opposed to them being slaves, they actually have contracts, but you're kind of exploiting them even though they have contracts. It's a weird thing.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, so these are civ-based, and then there are strategic ones, which are ones you can do on the world map. So like, if I wanted to do this like emergency cloaking field, in 2 turns I can charge up a thing that highlights an area and hides all the units in it. So you could set up a situation where you're preparing to attack someone, and then hide all your units for a couple of turns so they don't see you. Then maybe they go do something else and you sneak in from the side, which is very on theme for this faction of them. They don't really want to engage in direct combat. It's all about subversion and subterfuge of... Because they have it.
What are you spending to do that? Sorry.
So you're spending energy, which is like your universal currency, which is these lightning bolts up here.
Yep.
You also have to spend... what are the... You get operational strength, which is like you can cast at this level sort of thing.
Gotcha. Yep.
Which is, I think what that is. I can't actually remember. And then turns to charge it. But these guys have like high level stuff where they can psychically clone whole armies, so you could make your army look twice as big as it actually is.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So then people get scared and run away, but they were actually never that big in the first place.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of it. If I scroll out, you can see.
So what's your? Oh my god! Right.
Yeah.
So what's the end game? Like, is it same kind of civ where it's like victory conditions?
Yeah,
like
different victory conditions of you can like unify the planet through political discussions. You can kill everybody. You can have a big spaceship. You can. It's the same sort of thing for a 4X game.
Sure. Cool.
I think if there's a way, anything else that really needs to be shown here. So yeah, there are these these will give you different doctrines that you can implement, but they are kind of like miniature quests of like, to do this you need to sign a non-aggression pact and you will get this, but it's you also get an award for doing it first. There's also a victory condition that is about having a lot of these, because you're basically saying that I am the best, so you should all listen to me and everybody listens to you.
Sure.
Okay. But yeah, that's kind of what this game is.
Multiplayer, I assume?
Yes, full multiplayer. You can spend hours with your friends playing this, as I have done. Is craziness. I never want to play a 4X game online ever again, but you can do it if you want.
Yeah, no, like this seems to, like you said, I'm not a huge 4X person, but this at least solves the combat problem where it feels like you would influence it. It's not just a numbers game.
Yeah, so there is a the thing that this game does differently is that it's a unique world. So this is like not based on like real life or anything like that, which is pretty cool. So they have their own unique factions, but it becomes less of a chess-like overseeing. I'm going to move this unit here, and then they'll crash into this hex, and then they'll take it over. There's a lot more. You could be tactically minded on the actual battlefield and come out with a victory that you shouldn't have won because you were tactically better. So it's a lot more engaging in a combat perspective.
Totally.
But yeah.
So have you finished a game yet?
No, I have not finised a game yet. I've finished several missions of the campaign. So yes, kind of, but they're shorter, more focused narratives.
Right. Okay.
So it's a lot more easily, and a lot more easy to get to an end point at that.
But normal skirmish is like what, 20 hours?
Oh yeah,
maybe,
probably
for a game.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe even longer.
Cool.
This game is the game that I'm currently running now is like, this is maybe 4 hours into it, and I've not got that far, so it's going to be pretty long.
Cool.
But yeah, so that's Age of Wonder Planetfall. It is on Steam for I think £40.
Cool.
It's a cool little 4X game if you're looking for something that is different to like Civ, or something that you're a fan of. Maybe give this a shot if you like sci-fi. If you like XCom, it's cool.
This is Paradox, right?
Yes, this is a Paradox game.
They know what they're doing.
They do know what they're doing. But yeah, thanks, Euan.
Thank you, Calum.